Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is DRC Games a Lot and welcome to the long-awaited tutorial, guide, strategy, and what to do and what not to do on running max stats in City Trial. This video will consist of me going into a game of City Trial, explaining my thought process, and afterwards giving some tips and tricks on what not to do and what to do. So, basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and start here, and I'll explain, what my strategies are during every single game that I play. If that makes any sense. So, heading into City Trial, start your game, and, disable 2 of the CPUs and leave 1 more at level 1. Choose your color, I'll pick green. And set the time to 7 minutes. On slow mode and on versus King Dedede. So going backwards 1. See, this is forwards, this is backwards. Anyways, setting it to versus King Dedede, and the reason why you want to set it to versus King Dedede is because versus King Dedede has some interesting properties where it causes random alls to spawn at any time during the city and will help you significantly on your way to max stats. So make sure you have versus King Dedede set. Heading into the game, your main goal is basically to spawn as closest to the star pole as possible. So this is a really good starting spot, so let's go here. And busting the star pole as soon as possible is the best strategy you can do in max stats. And, that's what I always do. Alright, so if you see any boxes around, you can probably just ignore those. You just want to make sure you can get to the star pole as soon as possible. Because for some reason in this game, in the first 20 seconds, the star pole will always carry 7 items in the first 20 seconds of a match. Alright, so about 20 seconds has passed, so all the items have despawned and more will spawn. So let's see what we can get along here. So you mainly want to stay in this center area of the city because this is where most of the items will spawn. So I'm making sure I can stay in the center, and usually in the top part of the city, and kind of in the center. It's always the best place to be. And collecting as much top speed as you can get in the beginning helps you significantly, because the more items you collect in the beginning will cause you to collect way more items during the late game. So we're about to head into our first minute of gameplay, but we'll make our first pause. Alright, there, first pause. During the first pause, you want to analyze your stats. And generally, by this point, you want to have more than 15 items and over 1 top speed. So, looking at my stats, let's see, I got 2 HP, 1 offense and defense, so that's 4, 4 weight, so it's 8 items, 1 turn, that's 9, 3 top speed, that's 12, and 4 boost, that is 16. So, we've barely met the criteria for the amount of stats you want to have at this point. So there, that's that. And yeah, you also want to have more than 1 top speed at this point. So after analyzing that, we're gonna continue getting stats. Getting charge tanks like I did are really useful. So here we go, a useful event. So it's always nice to get events that give you items like Dynablade. So we'll go after him. If you have any Gordos lying around, those are always good to use. So I'm gonna go use these over here. It's better to use Gordos because you won't waste as much time, going on top of the buildings, flying over and hitting his head. The Gordos will do it for you. So let's let those work. So, no, did it? the Gordo's disappeared. That's unfortunate. Alright, so that means we'll have to hit his head. So let's get the 2 items, though, he dropped. And then we'll get the rest. Gotta make sure you can get that all out of him. Getting the all is very important. We do have a lot of glide for this, so I think we'll be okay. Alright, got him. So got the all. We're doing pretty good. Let's hope he drops his big ring. He dropped his smaller ring, but he still dropped a ring, so that's good. He can drop more items, but... or she, but this game calls it a he. But whatever, that doesn't matter. So yeah, just trying to make sure, you want to make sure you can get as much fluid movement as possible during your gameplay. Staying in the air as much as possible is crucial. Always stay in the air all the time, as much as possible. Staying in the air is so necessary for max stats, because it gives you a really good vision of what's around you. And you're able to see items you wouldn't normally be able to see on the ground, and causes you to collect items faster. So, always staying in the air is good. Alright, I would like to make a little bit of a point. You see this blue box right here? There is a trick in this game that I learned, that if you spin right before you hit a box on the corner of it, it'll break in one hit almost every time. So I'm gonna head over to the corner of this and then spin. I was a little early on the spin, so it didn't quite break it in one hit. Let's try on this one. See, that did it. That was perfect. So yeah, gotta make sure you don't waste any time breaking boxes. So I always do that. So do it on this one. This one. I was a little early on that one. But you get the point. Oh, we've made our first, now we're at 3 minutes into the game. And looking at our stats, we're doing pretty good. You generally want to average more than 6 stats, which we kind of are at this point. We are a little low. So I would say this is probably not going to max out. We're not doing very good. See, we're supposed to average 6 or more, which I don't think we're quite at, but that's kind of where you want to be. So throughout this, I, busted the star pole early, made sure I broke all the boxes in one hit, and every time the boxes drop items, you want to make sure you can catch them. Don't wait for them to fall. Like I just made that mistake there, so I had to spend time, grabbing each one rather than catching them and getting them all at the same time. Let's try this one here. That's a soda. We don't want that. Been getting a lot of boost. It'd be nice to have more top speed. You want to generally have a lot of top speed always in max stats. So you saw that, I just caught all those items mid-air, so I didn't have to waste any time waiting for them to fall and waste any time grabbing each one individually. You always want to make sure you can catch all those items in mid-air. Like this, caught those mid-air. Oh, okay. Little bit of a weird gliding there. I'm not getting much luck here with items. Hopefully these boxes will be kind to us. No. But yeah, see there, caught items. At this point, you should be able to break boxes in one hit no matter what timing you spawn. no matter what timing you spin at them. Getting a lot of speed, that's nice. And once we're reached about the 2:30 on the clock, 2:20, you want to look at your stats, and by this point you want to have at least maxed out 2 stats. We haven't met even close to that criteria, so generally this won't max out, but I'm going to continue the run for the sake of the tutorial. The reason why you pause to check your stats is because, you know, there's no point in continuing a run that you know won't either PB or max out. And I'm taking it as an analyzation for maxing out, but that's generally what you always want your goal to be rather than PB. Because if you're trying to, oh, got an all. So yeah, that's what King DDD will do. That's nice to always get. The alls always help. So at this point, we're at 1 minute. We're about 1 minute on the clock. We're at the 1 minute part on the clock, or whatever you want to call it. So basically, at this point, you should be either really close to maxing out, and if you're not, you won't max out because you would be surprised how much, you know, with the time left on the clock, it is not very much whatsoever to finish maxing out. So just want to make sure, see, I'm staying in the air as much as possible, making sure I don't miss any items, trying to get as much vision of the area as possible. Also, during max stats, don't collect legendaries. There is a legendary in this game, but if you focus on collecting legendaries, you'll also waste time doing that. And if there's anything that can cause you to waste time during max stats, it's really bad. So just don't do it. So getting legendaries, don't do that. I'll explain some more things that can cause you to lose time at the end of this run. Alright, so we have less than a minute left on the clock, so at this point, you want to kill the CPU. He's been spending the whole game collecting items, and you want to get as many as you can out of him. So, that was nice. Oh, you see that down charge land on me? That's lame. That's so lame. That's lame. Alright, so you could waste time trying to keep hitting the CPU to make sure you get all the items out of him. But I won't do that right now. Here's a cannon, actually. Let's do this. Let's get this cannon. We're gonna do this. So we're gonna grab these items. Then we're gonna go up to him. Good. So. Okay, so he won't be able to drop anymore. We got as many items as we could get out of him. So, yep, doing stuff like catching items midair, staying in the air as long as possible, being able to see as much as you can. So there we go, we finished this run, didn't max out, but it was pretty good, We got, it looks like probably 130 something we got there. I don't really feel like counting. Don't want to drag out this video. Alright, here comes King DDD. You can fight him if you want. Not necessary, so I'm just going to quit. So, here we go. Tips and tricks. What to do and what not to do in max stats. And I actually already have it kind of like copied. But, let's see. Let's do this. And then go to properties. And then I'm going to paste this. Here they are. First thing, Start the first 30 seconds going straight to the star pole. I already explained this in the beginning of the run. You get the gist of it. But the main reason is because in the first 20 seconds, technically, the star pole will always contain 7 items, and you want to always be able to utilize that. And also, getting as many items as you can in the early game, very useful for getting items in the later game. Because basically the more items you get early, the more items you start collecting faster and faster and faster, and eventually help you lead to max stats. Number 2, check stats in the first minute. I already showed why you should do this, just to make sure if this run is going to max out or not. If you have more than 15 items, got more than 1 top speed. Number 3, the most important one, and probably going to be the most controversial one in terms of its, usefulness. Never open the volcano rocks. This is really just in my opinion, but I can really explain why. The reason is because the volcano rocks are kind of interesting. Well, they technically do contain a easy way to get stats. It functions slightly like the star pole, giving you, power-ups and food, but they can also contain down items. Down items is the number 1 run killer in max stats. Let me have an example here. Let's say you get a downturn at some point in the run. It's like, I'm trying to make this in my head. But let's say you get a downturn in the run, and by the end of the run, you maxed out everything but turn. You have 17 turn. And if you hadn't gotten that down item, you would have already maxed out. And then let's say you waste like 30 seconds trying to find that turn because you got a down item, and you wasted a whole 30 seconds because you got 1 single down item. So when you're opening the volcano rocks that can contain down items, they're very hard to avoid, extremely hard to avoid. So if you're going for the volcano rocks, you're more than likely to get a down item. And there are 3 of them. I forgot to mention this. There are 3 of them. One that contains 2 items, another one that contains 3 items, and another one that contains 6 items. One of the 3 will always lead to the inside of the volcano. So technically, in every run, you will only have 2 of them. Generally, you want to make sure the one that leads to the inside of the volcano is the one that has 2, so you can get the items that have 3 and 6. And if you bust through them, you're more than likely to get a down item. It's extremely likely, actually. It's very rare to not get a down item. Very, very rare. And there is a way to avoid down items so that you don't waste time. But the way you do that is you very carefully and tediously open it, but kind of like inch yourself forward so that you don't touch the down item. And then if there is a down item but 2 power-ups, you'll try to veer around that down item and to get the power-ups. And then you do it to the next one. This in general will waste also a ton of time for sometimes not even that many stats, because it can have down items and can have food. So you spend probably about 45 seconds on collecting an average about, 5 items. You spent 45 seconds collecting an average of 5 items. When in those 45 seconds, you could have collected 10 or more. So you've wasted so much time on collecting the amount of items that is half of what you could have collected if you hadn't gone after the volcano rocks. So yeah, a lot of people will go there to collect items in there because they basically free items, but it's a huge, huge, huge time waste and not worth it. Alright, I'm gonna move on to number 4. Always stay in the air. I explained this throughout, but staying in the air, you get a way bigger vision of the whole city, and you can see more items lying around. Number 5, never change machines. The compact star is the best machine you can have in City Trial. This is because all the machines have some janky physics that sometimes will make it uncontrollable and very hard to collect stats. And some of them can be slower than the compact star. And the compact star has really good glide, really good turn, really good weight. No it gains a lot of traction rather than a star like the Slick Star, which gains no traction. So just in general, never change machines. Compact Star is always the best. And you know, some of the machines can be hard to control and collect items when you're going so fast with them, like the Swerve Star. So this kind of brings me to my last point, fluid movement. Catching items in the air as they fall down, being able to land on top of items, and just generally not wasting time on, you know, focusing on an item that you're going too fast to collect and can't control yourself. And it's pretty easy to have fluid movement with the Compact Star, but it's very hard to have fluid movement with any other star in the game, no matter what stats they are. But the Compact Star, generally all it does is just speed up the more stats you get with it. That's about it. It's still generally extremely easy to control. That's why you always want to use the Compact Star. And because it gives you good opportunities for fluid movement, and yeah. So that's pretty much it. I can't really think of anything else that's more important than max stats. But if you found this tutorial helpful, or this guide, or whatever you want to call it, if you found it helpful, feel free to drop a like, and if you have any questions, please comment on this video, and I will definitely respond to them. I will be doing max stat runs on my Twitch channel now, and that's where I have been doing it more. But I guess that's it. So thank you guys for watching this guide. It was all done in one take, and it wasn't scripted. So I'm sorry if I might have stuttered or not made any sense in what I'm saying, but I'm doing this all in one take, and it's not easy. But if you have any questions, you know, drop a comment, I'll respond to them, and I will see you guys later. This has been DRC Games a Lot. Have good luck on, well, I wish you all good luck on your future runs.